as you were just saying, you only buy comic books that have your name on them. But I know for a fact that you used to at least buy these comic books all the time. So like, let's have a look at this. Because have you seen what Savage Dragon is up to lately? This is from Dojo Kun Comics, yeah, another fellow CG guy. So thanks, mate. I'm going to be using your shit for some content. Appreciate you.
Look at all those.
Oh, well, you know for a fact that if I came across a page like this in a book, I wouldn't have read it. I would have no idea what it says because I would just skip over it in the first place, you know?
I've been thinking about doing a retrospective on Savage Dragon and Eric Larson for a while now. Do like an hour-long deep dive into what the book was, what it became, what it is, and why I think that is. So it'll be a lot of work. It'll be like a mini documentary sort of documenting the rise and descent of Eric Larson from Todd McFarlane's replacement on Spider-Man to who I consider to be the best indie creator of all time to the guy that makes this.
Yeah, fucking oath. Well, actually, you're completely right about all of that, right? But as Crazy Mad just said here in the chat, fuck Eric Larson. And by the way, sorry, I forgot to say hello to the chat. So hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm a little out of practice here. I'm stressed and tired, okay? I still appreciate you and I still love all of you, I promise. But like let's have a read of this Dojo Kun thing here because like, I'm not reading all of this. Yeah. Like I wouldn't read all of this for myself, so I'm not reading all of this now. But like let's just get through the gist of it so we can figure out what's even going on this page and why it is quote woke bullshit. You know? So I guess we'll just start from the top, right? Like fuck. It's Sarah Malcolm. She's in the hospital on the ventilator. She's got COVID and it's not looking good. Oh, okay. Cool. We were hoping maybe to get some of your blood and freak out and do one of those magic acts like you pulled with Maxine and Angel. And he's like, whoa, seriously? I thought Sarah was vaccinated. She's like, oh, no, she didn't get the clot shot. You don't know what's in that.
It's very subtle. The way that he picks specific bits of language. I'll let you finish, but like pay attention to because Savage Dragon is Eric Larson's mouthpiece. It has been pretty much since inception. You know, there's no surprises there. So here he is using BIPOC, female LGBTQIA plus, where's the plus bigot character as a mouthpiece for the opposing side, setting up what he considers to be straw men and then destroying it. So when he's got her saying clot shot, that's very deliberate, you know.
It's even bold.
Every single thing he's got in here is very intentional. Larson is a very intentional creator. He doesn't do anything by accident. The level of lore and depth and complexity to his stories, honestly, most people aren't big brain enough to sort of know what he's doing, and it's just so sad to see someone that could operate on that level turn into this. But yeah, just be aware of the language that he's using.
Well, yeah, especially because Savage Dragon was held up as one, you know, like Image Comics was very much, you know, the 90s whole, it was nothing but artists and everything fell apart. But Savage Dragon and Spawn came out of that stuff unscathed. Like people like those stories, you know? So anyway, let's like keep going with this though, right? And he's like, whoa, seriously? I thought she was vaccinated. She's like, oh no, she didn't get the clot shot. You don't know what's in that. And then he responds with, you don't know what's in my blood or in Freak Out, but you're ready to jam that in her arm. And you know the government's experimenting on people, right? They've been doing that for years. Did you hear about the Tuskegee study?
Tuskegee, I think.
But the study, I always heard it as an experiment. Who the fuck calls it a study?
The bad guys, I guess.
Yeah, the bad guys. That's what I would think.
Like, yeah, that thing happened at Tuskegee. What was that called? Yeah, we called it the Tuskegee study. You're like, oh,
yeah, no. Yeah, that's like I started on that for a reason because study, no, thank you. But you see, we're up to like we're not even all the way through that second like gap. Like it's not even a panel, that white spot, right? I've got the gist of it. We don't need to read any further yet. It's going to be more of that, but. What do you think, Masabi? Like, are you still a fan of Savage Dragon?
Larson, legitimately, I would consider him in terms of story writing, in terms of art style, like he's heavily influenced by Walt Simon.
You sure can, Heroes.
To be the closest thing we got to and people might get mad at this, but I mean, opinions. He's the closest thing we got to an heir to Jack Kirby that's still operating comics today, in terms of the art style, in terms of bombacity of the artwork, in terms of the dynamism, the energy, in terms of the way that he's these big
that's some high praise.
It is. He did Fourth World type stuff. He did this post-apocalyptic thing where he completely rearranged all the timelines of the whole universe that he created and everything, undid it, redid it, remade it. I can't even tell you how many levels of inception are in this storyline. I mean, this is Savage Dragon's son, who is existing. He's on an alternate timeline Earth of the original one that was destroyed. Like, there's so many layers of stuff going on here. Larson's got so much lore and he's put so much time and effort into thinking about it. And he set stuff up. I'm not even kidding. He set stuff up 10 or 12 years ago in real time to manifest currently. So he has got big plans, and because it's creator owned, he can do that sort of thing the whole way through. He can just do whatever he wants with it, which is why, on a whim, because I mean he's only selling 2,000 issues a month. I'd be happy to sell 2,000 issues a month, but
that's within my reach. I feel like I could sell that many if I had that many comic books to sell. Like, that's not a lot.
So he just figured, well, I'm not selling it, I can just do whatever I want, and he turned it into this awful Tijuana Bible style. Semi-porn comic for a while, and even that would be enough to push me away, because I don't like to mix that sort of stuff. Like if you Jake and your snake, go do that. If you're reading a comic, don't go do that. I don't like to mix the two things.
That's the whole reason we make fun of the porn parodies on this channel, is because it's the women in those pornos are attractive, but it's not sexy. It's more funny than it is sexy.
Absolutely, it's a train crash. So a bit of context here: if you take Savage Dragon's blood and you inject it into your body, because Dragon's got an incredible healing factor. Like, he's been cut in half, he's had both of his arms burnt off, ripped off, he's been killed, basically everything but had his head cut off, and he can regrow from that. And one time he got beat up real bad and dropped into a smokestack, and he healed inside. He didn't have enough strength to push himself out of the smokestack to break it, because his bones were all shattered. So when he healed inside the smokestack, all crippled and messed up, and his bones were all out of the wrong place, and he couldn't actually function. They had to get him taken to a hospital, get eventually their version of Captain Marvel, Shazam Captain Marvel, the real Captain Marvel, to break Dragon's bones and reset them in the right space so he could heal. And he healed within a day or two. Like, he heals really, really quickly. So there's a time when the gay police officer on the police force got AIDS, and he got a hold of some of Dragon's blood and injected into himself, hoping that it would cure the AIDS, and it did, but it also turned him into like a mini version of the Dragon. It gave him a fin, gave him green skin, all of his hair fell out.
Is that how it happened? Because I'm Spawn, not Savage Dragon, so I don't really know much about Savage Dragon.
I mean, and this is 25 years ago. I mean, this is old stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, the dragon blood's unstable, and it caused him to explode, and he just exploded and died the minute after he was healed. Like, he cured the AIDS. He transformed into a dragon. He's like, I'm cured. Oh no, I'm a green freak. He just splattered all over the walls. It's just hamburger.
Fucking hell.
So since then, he doesn't let anybody have any of his blood, because it'll have that effect on him. So this is Malcolm Dragon. This is Dragon's son. Dragon started a relationship with a prostitute who had superpowers, and she ended up quitting being a hooker and becoming a superhero. And she had lightning powers. Her name was Sharona Jackson. Her name was Rapture. Her code name was Rapture. And he got her pregnant, and she ended up having this kid, Malcolm Dragon. Now, Sharona was African American, so this version of Dragon is like you want to say. Person of color or whatever,
but he's still green.
And his dad's not, like, Savage Dragon's not human. He's an alien. That was his whole origin. That's one of the biggest letdowns of Larson's.
Yeah, that's basically all I did know about Savage Dragon.
So you got 20, 30 years of continuity. He wakes up in a burning field, no memory. He only knows stuff that happened over the last couple of weeks, and it's all stuff off television. So he knows every language that's ever been broadcast, but he doesn't know who the president. He knows who the president was, but he doesn't know his name or anything that wasn't on television. So they erased his memory, and they just gave him like 2 weeks worth of television broadcast and dropped him off on Earth, because as Emperor Nur, as this alien leader, he was a ruthless dark side type guy that would just kill people on a whim. So they gave him a vasectomy so that he wouldn't reproduce, and they cut out a bit of his brain, which regrew, but it regrew without the knowledge that he had, and they dropped him off on Earth with this implanted knowledge. And without that evil part of him, he ended up being a hero, and he ended up being a cop. Most people know Savage Dragon as a cop. So the original Savage Dragon is actually dead. He's been dead for a couple of years now. So Larson killed him off because Larson was running the comic in real time. So we had 30 years of Savage Dragon in the comics. That means Savage Dragon went from roughly 30 to 60 years old, because he's roughly 30-ish when he first appeared.
Yeah, and you can actually see that in the dialogue and everything. Yeah.
So he, when you look at Dragon right at the end, then where he's dying, like he was really old and his powers were wearing out, and he just couldn't heal as quick. A bit like Logan before they ever did Logan. So that then he let this guy take over, let Malcolm Dragon, his son, take over as like a natural progression of the legacy type hero, Nightwing taking over from Batman, that sort of thing. But there was, I agree
with Robert. Yeah. That's like all I know about it too. The original series was like all I ever saw.
The miniseries, the first 4 issues, and then the first couple of issues of the ongoing was the best stuff. Later on, you end up traveling to different worlds, fighting guys that like Darkseid, interdimensional monsters and aliens, and portals and alternate universes and timelines. It's big stuff. It's big brain stuff, and I really like it. But I think that he felt like he'd run out of all the and they also crossed over with Badrock. So at the same time that Savage Dragon, and he's called Bedrock at the time, and then they had to change it from Bedrock to Badrock, the rock guy out of Youngblood. So Bedrock turns up and starts attacking Savage Dragon. Dragon's kicking the shit out of him. They're fighting back and forward. It's pretty even. And Spawn sees him on the television. So in all 3 books, if you're reading Spawn issue 3, Spawn sees the 2 of them fighting on the television, and he walks away and says, I don't want to be involved in this sort of stuff. If you're reading Savage Dragon, it cuts back to...
I actually remember that. I can remember that, yeah.
So they did that really early on. And if I don't know what happened with the Youngblood version. I never picked up Youngblood. I imagine it's saying like Shaft would have seen Bedrock attacking what's essentially a police officer on television. And so after they fought to a standstill, Dragon goes, why the hell did you fight me? Why did you attack me for? We got the Russian bots. How lucky are we?
It's the second time ever.
Russian bots.
Yeah.
Dragon said, why'd you attack me for? He goes, I just want to see if you're tough enough to join Youngblood. And so he goes, I don't want to join your stupid superheroes team. I'm a cop. I make a real difference. And he goes, okay, fine. You don't have to. Don't be, bitch about it. Anyway, can I go now? And Dragon's like, hell no, you're under arrest, you dickhead. So he puts Badrock under arrest and sends him to prison for it. You just attacked a cop. That's just police, it's assault. So
yeah, like that is a crime.
Yeah.
But yeah. So what do you think? Like closing thoughts on this before we move on from this. Yeah. Like, what do you think of this new direction? Just as a whole, because I'm actually upset to hear, right? Like I knew Mother of Madness was a thing, yeah, but I'm kind of upset to hear that the woke bullshit has spread across everything, like not just the big 2. Like it's in Image, it's in Dark Horse, it's all over the place. And I can't stand it, man.
Larson was always a super lib. He's always super liberal. He's always super left wing. In retro, I didn't see it when I was younger because I didn't really know the difference. I mean, I was more liberal when I was younger too. We all were. I've always been fairly conservative, but I used to have much more liberal ideas about certain things. And I didn't really see a lot of it because some of his ideas overlapped with mine. I thought he was just a reasonable guy, middle of the road guy. But looking back, I can see quite how far left he was. He suffered really bad from Trump derangement syndrome. Like Stephen King, another author who I used to admire, he's never been able to get past it. And when I finally took off from Savage Dragon, when I finally stopped buying it after... I've got it all, boys. I've got everything. I've got the original miniseries. I've got the black and white reprints. I've got the entire run from Savage Dragon issue run right up to, 170 something. Zuckerblatt. The thing that finally got me to go was the Donald Trump issue, the issue where he had Donald Trump saying a whole bunch of stuff about illegal aliens, and they were actual aliens, not Mexicans. They were like aliens, because Dragon's an alien. But he was doing this really ham-handed straw man where Trump was saying aliens are bad, because Savage Dragon had been framed for some stuff. But he's putting words in Trump's mouth that he'd never said. And I'm like, the dangerous thing you're doing here, Larson, is people are going to read your book and they're going to think that Trump has said that stuff. So he was just lying. Like, you're going to put a real life person. It's like if I got Whoopi Goldberg, who's outspoken, put her in my comic and had her say a bunch of really over the top shit. People go, damn, I can't believe Whoopi said that shit. Like, sensible people know that's not true, but it's confirmation. It'll confirm the bias of people that want to believe it. And that's really dangerous because he was feeding into the anti-Trump rhetoric. And when I realized he's just doing propaganda, I was out. Shortly after that, he went in the porno direction where there's just full on like you never saw like erect penises or anything, but there's full on like snowballing cum shots and all sorts of awful shit going on. So it was really over the top. And he's basically banging his sister. Like, they were raised together. They got the same dad. Dragon's not Angel's father. He adopted her when he married Jennifer. But they grew up together from like day one. Since they've been about 5 years old, they've been brother and sister, and then he ends up banging her. You know, and not even, and she's having sex with this tiny little alien that's the size of a baby. It's like a little red skinned guy called Mr. Glum, who's this alien conqueror. Yeah, it's weird, and he's like about 2 foot tall. It's like a kid, so he's like a walking red Chucky doll type thing.
What the fuck? I'm glad I was never a fan of it now.
And there's full on scenes of this little red dude just like bending her over and railing her and her legs up behind her head, sort of thing, and it's just like. You know, like when I write my comics and there's something in there and it might push against a particular belief system or ethnic group or whatever, I always say I can point to places in real life where that has happened. Therefore, I'm allowed to write that thing. People go, oh, not all X are white. No, they're not. But some X have been white. Therefore, I can write
this one that I'm writing about is yeah,
that's right. And you can do that. And if it happened even once, I'm completely validated in doing that. So I don't worry too much when I write. I don't censor myself. I just write what I want to write. And I don't know what Larson's doing. He's not censoring himself, but there's no real life reference. He doesn't like. I'm doing it because I'm telling a story based off stuff that's actually happened. What's his agenda? Having this doll-sized baby alien human have sex with a grown woman? Like there's all. It's just really gone down the.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that at all. Like that's the first time hearing about that shit. So. Yeah,
I'll have to dig out these comics and do rest of Power King. I'll have to do a deep dive into all this shit and pull out some of the craziest stuff. The first, 100 issues or so are some of the best comics ever made, and a lot of people really like the cop side of it. And once he moved away from that, they dipped out and they never came back, which I can understand because it's a very different flavor. But early on, the scope and scale and ideas that Larson was incorporating, I've never seen anybody but Kirby approach. And Alex Ross really does the big stuff like Earth X and Universe X.
Alex Ross is insane.
He's next level. You know, like when I read Earth X, the way that he tied the entire history of the Marvel Universe, evil mutants, Celestials, vibranium, everything, it's absolutely propaganda. And it's been nothing but propaganda since, when did the Trump issue would have come out? In 2017, maybe?
Yeah, that's what I would guess.
You know, because Trump was elected in 16, I think. So I'd say 17 or 18, 16, 17 or 18. So you're looking at least 5 years.
He drove half the world fucking insane just being elected.
You know,
it was hilarious being a normie at the time who didn't care. I was like, oh, wow, this is going to be awesome. The guy from The Apprentice. Are you serious? They elected him? Oh, this is going to be great.